Hey guys, I'm going to explain how to do factor puzzles, and that was something on your test that some of you had some trouble with, so we're just going to go over a few, hopefully clear up some misconceptions about these, and hopefully you'll feel a lot better after you watch these videos. If not, that's still okay, and we'll continue to help you out, so that's all good. So factor puzzles are really just little multiplication boxes, essentially. So the way these work is the corners are the most important thing. So what I mean by that, if we look at this one here, this number times this number should always equal the corner. Same with, I'll do a different color. This number and this number should equal this number when they're multiplied together. I'll do a different color to show you what other one. This one times this one should equal this one. And this one times this one should equal this one. If you think about the opposite of that, then that also means that this one divided by one of these equals the other one. Same with this one. If you take that one and you divide it by one of them, you should get the other, and so on. You know your multiplication and division, so that was probably review for you, but we'll do a few of these. So when we do these, really the first or the hardest thing is really the first thing. So getting started, that's, in my opinion, that's the hardest thing to do. So the first thing you always want to do is look at two numbers that are beside each other. So you either want to look at these two together, or you want to look at these two together. Okay? You never want to look at like these two, or you never want to look at like this and an empty one. You always want to look at two that are beside each other. I'm going to start with these two, because 9 and 21, well, nine's kind of a nice one because not many things go into 9. So I'm trying to think right now of a number that goes into 9 and goes into 21. So what that means is a number that 9 can divide, like that you can do 9 divided by this number and you get a whole number. Or a number that you can say this number times something else equals 9. So what is a number that goes into both 9 and 21? First number that comes to mind for me is 3. And whenever I write one down, I always want to write it on this side as well as across from it. They're always the exact same across from each other. Always, 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 always. Okay, and then I can go from there. So then I can think, okay, well, if this is 3, what do I have to multiply to 3 to get 9? That answer is 3. So I'm going to write that there. And since I wrote that there, I'm also going to write it across. And over here, I can do the same. So what number, 3 times what number is 27? Or I'm sorry, is 21. That number is 7. Because 3 times 7 is 21, right? So yes, and since I wrote it here, I'm also going to write it across. And then I just have to fill in some blanks. So here I have to think of 3 times what number gives me 24? Well, 3 times 8 gives me 24. So I'm going to write 8 there, and I'm also going to write 8 here, because we always do that across. And then we have to think, what is 7 times 8? And that number is 56. And then you can go back and check and make sure everything works. So I'm going to go back and check my numbers. So I'm going to do that in blue. I'm going to say, okay, so does 3 times 3 equal 9? Yes. Does 8 times 3 equal 24? Yes. Does 7 times 8 equal 56? Yes. And does 3 times 7 equal 21? Yes. So I am good to go on that one. Alright, we're going to move on to the next one now. This one is kind of unique because there are multiple ways to solve it, and that is okay. So if you find a way that I might not have found before, that's totally cool. As long as it works, then I'm good with it. So I'm going to look at two numbers, 24 and 12, and already I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of numbers that go into both of those. So 12 goes into both of those, 6 goes into both of those, 3, 4, lots of different numbers. I'm going to go with 6 to start, and we'll see if that works. If I have to change it, then that's okay. I have to change it. So I know that 6 goes into 24, and 6 also goes into 12, so I'm going to write that. It always goes across from each other. And then I'm going to fill out the remaining ones on this side. So what times 6 equals 12? Well, 2. 2 times 6 equals 12. And what times 6 equals 24? Well, 4 times 6 equals 24, right? Oh, and of course, what I forgot to do, which is big no-no, you always want to remember this, since I wrote it down here, these two, I also have to write it across. So 4 and 2 also go across. And then I have to look at this one. So, what times 2 gives me 18? So 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. And then, since I wrote that there, I also have to write it across. And now all I have to do is multiply these two numbers, 9 times 4, to get this blank, which is 36. So there's that. And then I can double check it. I want to make sure. These two times each other equals 36. These two, 18. These two, 12. These two, 24. And we're good. Now what's cool about this is I can also do it a different way. And I'm going to do that one in purple. So there's probably multiple ways, but I'm going to show you one other one. And I'm going to show you how it works. So I'm going to do it in purple. So I'm going to pretend that, so I'm looking for a number that goes into 12 and 24 again. I'm going to choose 4 this time. So 4, 4, and then I'm thinking, actually, I'm going to erase this because it looks very confusing with all that writing around it. So 4, 4, and then what do I multiply to 4 to get 12? 3, so I also have to write it up here. What do I multiply to 4 to get 24? 6 and 6. Okay, and then what times 3 equals 18? Also 6. So 6 and 6. And then all I have to do is multiply these two together, and I get 36. I get the exact same answer inside the box as I did last time, but I used different numbers on the outside, which is pretty cool. So you can do that sometimes. We're going to go on to some other ones. Alright, so this one. First thing I do is look at what? Hopefully you said 2 numbers that are beside each other. Either those two or those two. Either one is fine. I'm going to look at these two. And I'm thinking 16 and 32. I know that 8 goes into both of those, so I'm going to put an 8 and an 8 on either side of those. Then I'm thinking, what times 8 gives me 32? Well, 8 times, oops, I'm sorry, not 3, 4. 8 times 4 gives me 32. And since I wrote 4 over there, I also have to write 4 over there. And then I also think, what times 8 gives me 16? That answer is 2. And since I wrote a 2 over there, I have to write a 2 there. And then all I have to do is, what times 4 gives me 12? 3 and 3. And then I have to multiply these two together to get this number. And I get 6. And you can check them by multiplying these two, and these two, and these two, and these two I already did. Alright, last one. So I'm going to look at these two numbers, because I know that 63 is kind of a unique one because not many numbers go into that, but I know 9 goes into both 63 and 36. So I'm going to write a 9 on either side of that. And I know that 7 times 9 is 63, so I'm going to write a 7 there, and then of course a 7 on the other side. And I know that 9 times 4 gives me 36, so I write a 4 there, a 4 there. And then I think, okay, what times 4 gives me 20? That answer is 5. I transfer the 5 down there. And then I do 5 times 7 equals 35. And that is how you do a factor puzzle. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And if not, that's okay. Just let me know or let Ms. Bechtel know, and we will work with you more on this, and we will get it down. Alright? Thank you.